better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The field's not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
party.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here, especially those that have already warmed up the chat and the space. Greatly appreciated. Shout out especially to Teacher Katie, Thomas, Machiavelli, Otis, and Web3 Warhead over in the YouTube chat. Telling you, YouTube chat is popping off. It is the chat of all chats. That said, I did post one abstract chat a day. It does help keep the doctor away. So you want to hit up both those if you're real. If you're a real one, Teacher Katie already with the double dip, as well as Thomas. So it's been a while, but glad to be back. Schedule was just not working out. Glad to have you back, Thomas. Appreciate you being here as always, and all of our morning friends. Happy Monday to everyone. Big day. We will hit at least a little bit of quote open following a culture event like the Super Bowl. And for those asking, I guess I am a Cardinals fan, but just the same way that I'm a Bears fan and a Colts fan and a Bucks fan. I've lived in those markets, and so I rooted for the teams while I live there and will continue to do so. I have no idea even how the Cardinals are this year. If they're going to be a good team, a bad team, I have no clue. But what I do know is pitchers and catchers report this week. So football is over. And while I'd love to say I won't be thinking about football until the fall, I will draft far more way too early best ball drafts than I will anything baseball related. But I live in Florida, so I might catch a spring training game or two. It's the Orioles, actually. I might catch an Orioles preseason game this year in Sarasota. But a lot happening in the market. Majors and the coins not so great. NFTs surprisingly are ripping, especially a handful that we'll hit on during the market update. And a lot going on today. We have a lot going on today. Mega ETH launches. And so with that comes dozens of new dApps to check out, explore. Maybe, I don't want to say farm, because I think some you might actually enjoy. But if you're going to farm, best to farm something that is enjoyable. And beyond in addition to the Mega ETH launch, we also have Death Star launching today. We're going to be talking, I think 9 o'clock. We might have a special guest join us from the team. I think Henry might jump in and talk a little bit about that launch today. Caught up. He wasn't able to tune in live, but he did. I think several from the CyberKongz team caught the playback and appreciated us talking about it, and not the worst of likes. Even though there are some that are not a fan of this strategy. I too was not a fan at first, but I came around to it, and wouldn't be something I necessarily would be driving, but I'm excited for the experimentation on chain, and I think it could bring a little bit of fun back to the NFT trenches as they target Moonbirds at launch. Moonbirds up pretty nicely heading into the day, and I'm just, again, I have exposure to Moonbirds and still have come around on this launch. So we're going to get into all that. GM from Iceland, Dort, loving the picks over there. Colder than I prefer, but man, those Northern Lights, that is a bucket list item of mine for sure. And one that will, I don't know. I don't have a planned timeline, but I definitely very much so looking forward to it. I mentioned the Super Bowl before we get into too much serious stuff here. Forgettable Super Bowl. I mean, congratulations to Seattle and the Seahawks fans, and Sam Darnold is a feel-good story, I guess. Ken Walker, I'm going to be long Ken Walker in best ball and fantasy next year, and I will be I shared in the war. My biggest takeaway from the game wasn't Sam Darnold, who I don't think is that good. He just had a dominant team, dominant defense, one of the best we've seen in years. And a good coach. McDonald's a good coach, and they deserve the win. Darnold didn't play great, but probably the most important stat of the playoffs was 0 turnovers by the Seahawks. And if you would have told me Sam Darnold would lead a team in the playoffs, lead them to the Super Bowl, and have 0 turnovers, probably would have laughed at you. I know there was some people that cashed out on big tickets. They picked Seahawks to win, like during the preseason. It was some of the longest odds in professional sports we've ever seen to actually win a championship. I bet it was even longer odds that the Seahawks would go through the playoffs with 0 turnovers. But yeah, hats off to them. They played well. And but my biggest takeaway wasn't a Seahawks player. It was, despite the L, Christian Gonzalez is elite. And I will be full fading any wide receivers that face him in DFS or Battle Royale best ball or Battle Royale underdog drafts next year. He is legit really, really, really good. And I mean, he locked down JSN, the best receiver in the league this year, the offensive player of the year. And some of the plays he made, multiple plays, were like superhuman. Anyways, probably enough of the actual game. The more entertaining part, I thought, was the halftime show. Surprised, I guess I'm not surprised it was controversial, because our society, for some reason, likes to lean into being divisive, which I think that is the bigger problem with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like, go back to just letting, like, if we're a free country, let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. There's no need to dunk on it or take shots or attack if someone doesn't like something you don't like. But the halftime show statistically was the most viewed halftime show ever. Rolling Stones came out and said it was the second, per their rankings or opinion, second greatest halftime show ever, behind only Prince in his iconic performance. But I know I might be a little biased. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I too, like, for those that said they understood 0 words, well, they didn't listen, because he does talk about taking a selfie and say cheese in TD. So like, it's, you either don't know English or you just didn't listen, because there's definitely at least 2 English words spoken in his performance. But I loved it because for me, in my life, my journey, it was like a snapshot of like my journey over the last maybe handful of months, and it was. I'm actually going to pull up a post because I think someone summed it up better than my own words would. Yes, if I wasn't dating a Spanish speaking person, I would feel the same. Absolutely. I kind of will take a little bit of offense. I never spoke about anything cultural related. I mean, I will think about some specific examples, but I would like to think at least they're in cold opens. I don't know if like it's not culturally related. It wasn't other cultures, but it was, I would think often probably very much American centric, US centric. But yeah, I think I would feel the same because it wasn't divisive. It was, just like the ending, and there's the only thing stronger than hate is love. Like I agree with that at a core level. Like I think like it's spot on, like, and more of that. I don't care if they're left or right, like be kind, show empathy, like care for other people's, like the outrage because of like I commented, I'm not a reply guy person at all, but I replied to a Clay Travis post who was outraged because there was they sung in Spanish at a flagship cultural event, and like he said they spoke in a foreign language. I'm like, you may not understand Spanish. I don't understand a lot of Spanish, but it's not a foreign language in the US. Like it's the second most, and by a lot. Like there's 240-ish million people speak English in this country. There's over 40 million that speak Spanish. I took 5 years of Spanish in school. Most people had at least the option to take Spanish in high school or college. And the reason is because it is a dominant second language. Like it's English, Spanish, and then a big gap for anything else. I'm not saying everyone needs to learn how to speak Spanish, but just so many really bad takes. I felt like there was a list of all the other non-American performers, and a lot of them, there was never this backlash. And because it was his songs are in Spanish, he's an American. I also, by the way, I don't know if my brother from another mother, Dow Jones, is out there, but if he doesn't object, I think I might actually lean into the cultural phenomenon and consider myself Puerto Rican for at least the next week. I saw that take. I thought it was pretty funny. But let me go find this post I was alluding to, and I'll pull it up because I think it really did, in a non-abrasive way, sum up, speaking of cultures, and while I think it would be more good than bad if more people, here's my post. I will pull up the one I'm actually looking for, and then I'll flash this one briefly. Yes, I like my own post too, by the way. This was, he said, why would any other country in the world have a signature cultural event in a foreign language? I legit have no idea what happened. And first of all, the answer is yes. See the Olympics in most foreign countries. They at minimum will do their local language and English. Others, will lead with English. My favorite though is, when someone comes in and tags Grok attempting to like prove a point, and then they get roasted. This guy says, "Is Spanish a foreign language?" It didn't need to prove me wrong. And Grok responds, "Spanish has deep historical roots in the US, spoken here for centuries, longer than English in some regions, with over 41 million speakers, more than in Spain. It's the second most common language. The US has no official language, so Spanish isn't foreign in a sense, but it's often classified as one in education and other contexts. It's more accurate to call it a heritage language for many Americans." Again, I'm not trying to make this divisive. Here is one of the other posts that I was referencing, that all these other halftime performers, not U.S. citizens. Bad Bunny, a U.S. citizen. I also happen to like Puerto Rico. Long before dating a Latina or someone of Spanish speaking or that speaks Spanish. Anyways, I digress. I do want to find the one, and then we will move on from we'll move on from Super Bowl talk and into news of the day, because it is a lot to cover before we have our guest join us here. But I do want to, since I alluded to it, I do want to show it real quick, and then we'll get moving. I'm sorting between my likes of Christian Gonzalez, Elite, Love, and there's also some really funny ones too. But like high level, you could speak 0% Spanish and still know that Bad Bunny effing killed it. If your vibes are powerful, they just transcend language. I agree. Everybody's Puerto Rican for the next 24 hours. Bad Bunny did more to heal America in 10 minutes than the administration has in the last 10 years. I am going to find it. There's a lot. Sorry. Rolling Stone said it was the best halftime show since Prince. It was the most viewed halftime show of all time. So from a business standpoint, it was very sharp for the NFL. Most people did not tune away and brought in a new demographic of listeners. This is, I think, kind of it. And this is where I found it here. Sorry. This is, I think, the post I was referencing. There might have been another one, but this sums it up as well. I started this. I'm quoting Nicholas Cool here. He says, I started listening to Bad Bunny when I moved to Miami a few years ago. It was always playing at the gym. I started to learn some songs, which started to teach me words in Spanish. Then some of my Dominican trainers at the gym and I became friends. Then they started speaking Spanish with me. It gave me a small taste of what it must be like for immigrants who don't speak English to come to America and turn to movies, TV shows, and music to listen to learn the language, and how quickly you can become friends with someone, even if you only share a few words in common. In my opinion, that's what Bad Bunny's halftime show captured creatively. Culture is special, and you don't need to speak the language to be invited to the party, to dance, to experience community and connection. I'm glad he didn't sing a single word in English. It was his party, and I appreciate inviting all of us, fluent or not. And again, I agree. I agree with that take. I agree with the whole love is stronger than hate, and so many things I enjoyed about it beyond the dancing Latinas. It's that what they described there, I've experienced that on a few occasions. I've been to holiday parties. Just Sunday, went to Epic Universal, good time. And Sunday morning went to my girlfriend's brother and his family were visiting. He lives in Chile now, obviously from Venezuela, but lives in Chile. And his daughter has lived in the States for many years, went to college and is getting married soon, engaged to someone from Minnesota. And myself and the guy from Minnesota were the only two with English was our primary language. Sunday morning, whenever, and they had breakfast, and the community if you've never experienced that culture, the community is hard to describe. I grew up in a family that was very, like my extended, not just my mom and dad and brother, but our extended family rolled deep, like every holiday, every Labor Day, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, like you name it. If there was a 3-day holiday, we were getting together, not just Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. It was every excuse to have a cookout. We'd get together to have a big cookout, and we'd roll 20, 30, all the cousins were there, and we'd roll 20, 30 deep. And I just thought that's how everyone lived. And then as an adult realized that was very unique. And try to choose my words politely here, so I'm not trying to dunk on anyone, and each their own. Like, you don't have to be enjoying a big family, but my ex's family was very much so not that. Now, she had 3 brothers and sisters, so some of them had a lot of kids, and so the big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., there'd be a lot of people there, but it'd be all just like the immediate family, if you will. And they didn't speak to aunts and uncles and cousins rarely, like maybe a wedding or something like that, but not even a major holiday would they get together. It was mostly just, again, a wedding or a funeral. So that was odd to me. And while I grew up with the big extended family thing, the Latin culture is that on steroids. Case in point was Sunday. I'm at a breakfast. They had a Airbnb hotel, I guess more so Airbnb kitchen, and they were making dozens, hundreds of mandukas. It's just I don't know how to describe it. Think of like a Latin donut, kind of. I know I'm not doing it justice. A Latin donut with cheese. Anyways, greater point being, I'll land the plane here, is conversation, like dozens of conversations taking place simultaneously. There was probably 15, maybe 20 people in the room. Very little English spoken. And I still was able to connect with people. I still knew what was going on. They have a way of making you feel welcome and a part of something, even though you may not understand every word being spoken. Personality, body language, vibes does transcend language, the spoken word. And I don't know. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy all my time with her family and friends, and because they are very friendly and kind and caring, even though while most of them do speak English as their second language, some don't speak any English, and we were still able to communicate. And to me, that is more of that would be a good thing for our world at large. And I do not have a Kid Rock review. I did not listen. It's also like kind of funny to me that I'm not also, if you like Kid Rock, enjoy Kid Rock. It's just funny to me how a lot of people got excited about a kid. I mean, a few million people got excited about a 55-year-old Kid Rock concert. Anyways, I digress. Not trying to make it PvP. It shouldn't have been that to begin with. And he says, I wish I had the enthusiasm for anything like some people. You got mad about music during a game. You don't like it. You don't have to watch it. It's fine to get mad about it. It's like, that's what you're going to get mad about today. Yeah, I guess we've got, I guess we don't have problems if that's what we're getting mad about. Like the world is perfect because we're going to get angry about the language someone speaks their native language and sings songs in their native language. Anyways, I agree with Payne, the disrespect to Michael Jackson. I would rank that above Prince. So I would go Prince, maybe Bad Bunny for number 2. So many cool cultural moments and things I thought were, even the wedding, like it was a real wedding. People really got married. They invited Bad Bunny to their wedding. He respectfully declined and said, how about you come and get married at the Super Bowl? To which they agreed. So just a lot of cool moments that I hope those that faded it can at least find some enjoyment with what actually took place, what actually transpired. And anyways, all that said, morning abstract, GM Diablito Buen Dia a Todos. I don't know what that means, but I take it to be warm-hearted and of good nature. So thank you. Let's do this. Let's jump right into some markets, and then we'll talk a little bit of Mega ETH. And then I think Henry from CyberKongz is going to join us right around 9. And then, but I don't think it's a lengthy interview. I think we will we'll talk Death Star for a little bit, and then I think we will bounce back into Mega ETH. I believe we'll see where the morning takes us, but it's not going to be the last time we're talking Mega ETH. It just so happens that it's not TGE. Mainnet's going live today. Part of what's innovative about how they're launching is how they're doing TGE, and a big fan of how they're doing it. It's not at launch. It's going to be not just TGE, but unlocks, and so much of what they're doing is going to be milestone based, which again, love it. Doing things differently, and a big fan of all that. I will mention majors. Fear and Greed back up to 9, so a little bit of a pop there. It dipped down to 5, the lowest since the Fear and Greed chart has been made. Bounce back up to 9. Majors are down after coming back up. Bitcoin's down to 69 again. ETH down to 2K. They're both down 3-4% on the day. XRP down 3.5%. It's just not a great day at least on the majors. Everything pretty much red. Let me see what's a positive day. Humanity Protocol, World Liberty Fi, Layer 0. And then we're already in stable. So yeah, not much on the coins have any good day, but lighter down big. I wonder what caused that sell off. Let's shift over to some more exciting stuff though, as majors continue to just be not experiencing great price action. But if we look at NFTs, we actually have a few positive things to write home about. Apes up 4% on the day, up to 6.35. A little bit of distance, maybe the largest distance I can remember in a while between apes and pudgies. Apes at 6.35, pudgies at 4.4, flat on the day. Mutants even up to 0.91, while it's down 1% on the day. They had a nice run over, I must have been over the weekend, pushing 1 ETH again. Moonbirds up 5% of the day to 1.3. We will talk about them again once we hit on this Death Star launch, who is targeting Moonbirds today. We'll see if there's buyer step in and take advantage of those listings that go 20% below floor. Quirkies we'll hit on here in a second, just flashing across the banner there. Little pudgies down slightly, 0.53. Clone X, big 17% gain on the day, up to 0.32. Del Mundo's up 30% on the day to 0.05. Joey calls them the next Bored Apes. As soon as I mentioned Del Mundo's, he comes flying up on stage to shill his bags, a kid. But Milady's up 6% to 1.16. Good Vibes Club at 0.89. They're down 1% on the day because Dort is in Iceland. And if you're upset that Mutants flipped Good Vibes Club, blame Dort. It's a joke. It's a joke. People relax. MFers up 15%, 16% on the day to 0.42. If we have time, we may talk about not necessarily MFers directly, but BankerBot is definitely in need of some attention. Even Mochaverse up 8% on the day. Quirkies up 5% and continues the momentum since, I'm not saying it's because they launched a strategy token, but Poppy, they launched the new art, and Poppy is just, he's in the trenches and working for his bags as much as any NFT founder is, especially when you talk about alignment with community. Hard to doubt that. CyberKongz, we will talk to Henry here in a bit. Dipped down to 1.35 after the big run up following the announcement. I think that'll be a volatile collection to keep an eye on here for the next couple of days. Bad Buns down 3% to 0.31. I would like to pick one of these up ASAP. I've not made the move yet, but I think it's a miss if you're going to be deep in Mega ETH like I plan to be and not have a bad bun. I think that's probably a miss. I do have a Fluffle, and so there is some opportunity there for allow list and whatnot. But I think bad buns would be just. There's a world where you get 0.31 of value just in allow list alone. Maybe not. There's also where you get 0 value out of that. But it's a bet I would when there's something. Again, you talk about alignment and utility. Not downplaying purely collectibles. Very much a place. And speaking of Joey Beezy's in the collectible space, did $1 million in revenue yesterday, I think. Congratulations. After a $10 million month, doing $1 million in a day. Pretty impressive. Love to see it. While I do believe in the collectible thesis, I think oftentimes collectible value accrual is decades in the making, not days, weeks, or months. And where the value accrues in the days, weeks, and months is there other utility? Is there reasons to hold this asset beyond just the collectible nature? And I think when you have new chains launching and new dApps and new NFT mints and tokens launching, like gives you more reasons to hold said assets. Now, it can be a game of chicken, and at some point that doesn't last forever, right? You need to be paying attention to the market. You need to be capitalizing on those opportunities when they come. And when the well goes dry, it's probably good to exit those positions, unless you really love the community and you're going to be active, or you love as a collectible. It's a different story. But if you're holding it for the short term value and utility, you need to know when that short term period ends. We just hit 700 followers on Abstract. Thank you all. Thank you, Hands W, for the big Pingu tip over there. Greatly appreciate that. I would love to hit 700 followers on YouTube. That would make our day, month, year, maybe. Because once we get to 500, we're going to be able to do some cool stuff on YouTube that we haven't been able to turn on yet. So if you've not yet, that'll be my show in the morning. Head up top, scroll one in from the left, and head over to YouTube. Give us a sub. We would greatly appreciate that. And we've kind of stopped asking for the likes, reposts, and bookmarks on the space. Most of you, at least the regulars, know what to do here. But since we do have a guest joining us at 9, I will I will make an ask. Might ask one more time before the 9 o'clock hour. If you've not yet given the space of engagement, the audio spaces that is, would love the love and support. Even a like or bookmark goes a long way. A repost, a comment, everything in the chat. I should ask you this, Joey, is the chat bubble back? We lost the chat bubble on Friday. Is the purple pill in the bottom right?
Yeah, it's working again.
Awesome. Good to hear. What brought you up? Talking Del Mundo's or
yeah,
BZ,
come on. Why don't we talk about Del Mundo's? It's it's running again.
Del Mundo's. I've been saying it wrong. Very on brand for me. What do you attribute the running up to? 0.05 up almost 30% on the day. Is it just the art? Is there some teases, some utility? What do you attribute the run up to?
I think people are just looking for something. This goes back to, I don't even know, what was it, like 3 weeks ago when TMA, what do we call him? Tima? Posted about how he bought like 200 of them basically for like $1. And he's been steady posting probably every day about how I bought this for 0.0002 and sold it for 0.22, or 0.0003 and sold it for 0.33. And now more people are catching on. I think we talk about art. All of these have a very similar like creation vibe to GVC, right? Like the reason why everybody was really hype about GVC was, and I'm not saying they're on the same level and they're going to make a run like that, but every GVC trait, right, when you was handcrafted, super high definition detail, and all of these were created. The traits, the characters were all created individually, high quality. So I think it's just one of those, under the radar that some people just keep talking about, and as more people find them, they're getting more popular.
Yeah, I mean, love to see it. I hope it is. I also probably worth mentioning Batsoup doing a big art push and buying art. I'll just be honest. I'm not excited to buy art right now at this moment. It just doesn't. It's not moving the needle for me yet. Maybe I get in. There's some new art. Like, I guess I don't know. I don't know why. I need to unpack that further. Probably another conversation for another day. But I guess I'm probably more excited at this current state of the market for. And it's not even just like utility in the form of like magical internet money. That's not what I'm seeking. I do enjoy productive assets. I do enjoy dividends or yield or whatever you want to call it. And both in terms of my capital and my time, there's a lot going on in the space. And that's where what's going to get my focus over than art. That if I'm buying art, it's either a short-term flip, which doesn't feel great. Teach their own. Flip art if you want to flip art, or a long-term hold. And there's just I think we're still got a bull run ahead of us. I know some are going to roll their eyes at that. I just think that, there's another announcement today, I think like 5:30 tonight from Trump about this Clarity Act and attempting to get that over the goal line. I'm not saying that by itself sends crypto. I just think there's so many tailwinds still supporting a big run. And I do think that not only 10-10, I think, and I know I'm not the best spoken when it comes to the stuff we shared on Friday in terms of the big brain takes and why Bitcoin sold off, why the crash. And it was you start talking about the derivatives market now, and a single Bitcoin could be represented by 5 or 6 different assets it could be traded on. And, I do think there's probably some merit in a big trade, a fund got hit hard, almost wiped out, almost liquidated or close to it on 10-10. And then they attempted to make it all back. And whether it was a yen carry trade or something else, like that all makes sense at the highest level. I'm just it is something I'm going to attempt to become better at this year, is gaining a deeper education on some of that, how money moves at a macro level. And especially now that Bitcoin has entered TradFi, like that stuff matters. And I do think if we're going to be trading on that stuff, is probably more important to understand, or as important at least to understand it is like technical analysis on charts. I think the 4-year cycle is over, and I think now it's more likely to be where's money flowing, where's liquidity flowing, and what are catalysts. And I think there's a lot of catalysts that could send majors, could send crypto. I also, one thing we haven't hit on the Super Bowl, it was all the commercials, and in particular the AI.com launch by the crypto.com. By the way, if you're into that, AI.com, and secure your domain, it's an open cloud. It's an open cloud wrapper. So it's nothing really revolutionary from a tech standpoint, other than they're attempting to just make it easier and store this on the cloud. And who knows if anything comes of it. But I mean, this was crypto.com running back basically their same playbook as they did with crypto.com. Now just doing it in AI. And I was wrong last year, or maybe it was just early when I said AI agents will be to 2025 what NFTs were to 2021. I was inaccurate on the timing. They were not that in 2021. I do think it's still in the possible range of outcomes that AI agents are to 2026 as NFTs were to 2021. Probably bigger. I mean, especially if you fast forward, maybe it's not the best direct analogy or comparison, because it's very different, and people aren't going to be minting 10,000 supplies of AI agents, at least not on a regular basis. But if you think like the impact they have, like I do believe NFTs and the technology will underpin a lot of assets as we move forward. I think they are here to stay. NFT PFPs, verdict still out. Digital identity, verdict still out. But I do think it's possible, maybe even likely, that the boom I thought we would see in AI agents in 25 actually happens this year. It was just too early. Like for the quote unquote normies, the tech wasn't ready. The tech wasn't there yet where it is now, where especially with what is launching now, it's some people intimidated by OpenClaw and the Claude Well, not really. You shouldn't have to be intimidated anymore. Like I know AI.com is still in beta. It's not really launched, but we're like there. We're at the doorstep of this stuff being very easy to use, extremely intuitive, and it's the worst it's ever going to be going forward. Like today, it's not going to be. It's only going to be better tomorrow. It's going to be much better next week. Significantly better a month from now, and it'll be so much better you won't even recognize it a year from now. Let's go back to Joey, and then we'll get Hizzy in here and Machiavelli if you want to join the conversation. Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, I do think something we haven't talked about, which is interesting. In the past, whenever we've seen ETH and Sol and Bitcoin like dump hard, we don't normally see we don't see NFTs pump. And over the last week, there's been a lot of NFT collections either staying where they're at, or going upwards. And I don't know if that's like a decoupling of NFTs to crypto kind of thing, but like we had ETH under 2,000 a couple days ago, and NFT collections were green. So it's kind of interesting. I think that in previous I don't think we're in a bear, but right, like in previous downturns, though, we didn't see this. We didn't see NFTs price go up when Ethereum price go down.
Yeah, valid. It it should theoretically if this stuff is 1 ETH equals 1 ETH, but if we're pricing this stuff in USD, when there's a sell off on majors, it should go up. It was at one point it proved out to be a bad bet, but a leverage bet on ETH thinking that when, ETH went up, it would go up, NFTs would go, in more, faster clip. And when ETH dipped, they would also go up. That did not play out, was wrong. But yeah, you're right. Over the past week, it has been much more positive price action than certainly than most crypto, most fungible tokens. Hizzy, GM, I know you're into the art scene. I did not mean to just fly over Bat Soup or not give proper credit. I do see some more art on the timeline. It's just not something I'm chasing or buying at the moment, but I do appreciate. I guess here's where I kind of net out on art is I'm hopeful. I'm not really optimistic. I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth over, and some of it has been validated, some of it's been confirmed, some of it has not been. It's just rumors or speculation that some of like the backroom deals, and I don't even want to necessarily mention the names because I don't know it to be true, but there's just a lot of takes that some of the more influential digital art people were really just playing the Ponzi game and pumping their friends' stuff, and for all intents and purposes ignoring up and coming artists and not really helping anyone. And while some of them made a lot of money off their efforts, I think there might have been exploitive in some cases. I think it probably drove some new artists out of the space that came in and saw how things were working and came in because, this is going to be better than the trad art world. In reality, it was just as bad, if not worse. It just was, it wasn't transparent and open like many claim. And yet those were the narratives used to drive attention. I'm not saying it's all like that, but it just being authentic, it did cut some of the stuff I've seen or questions. It's kind of caused me to just pause and see how things shake out. And but I will, credit Bat Soup for starting bringing somewhat of a focus back. Here's what he had to say. I'm going to spend $100K this year buying crypto art from artists trying to get established. It'll come out to around 1 ETH per week. It's not nearly enough, but hopefully it helps. Music, old Netta, who is way better at this than I am, will be helping me. Here's how it works. We'll buy the work. We'll invite the artist to do a small write about themselves and the work. Lynette and I will discuss why we bought it. The mission is to elevate artists. That's it. I don't have investors or some sort of agenda to flip this and get rich. It's all my own money, and I'm doing it because I'm just tired of seeing so many good artists struggle here. So rather than whine about it, I've decided to do something. A few things to note. We'll be doing open calls for work about once a month, but I anticipate 50% of the works we buy to be outside of these calls. Lynette and I will spend a lot of time enjoying digging for art, and not everyone is into open calls. I get it. We'll find you, but no shilling outside of the open calls. There are substantive ways to show off your work without shilling. I have no idea what WTF I'm doing here. I'm not a curator nor an art critic. I have no formal art training or art history background. Writing about the works I buy is honestly going to be terrifying because I know what I like, but I don't know how to articulate it. I'll be learning along the way, and I'll be learning a lot from Lynette, who again is much better at this than I am. All works must be on ETH mainnet and have a link and asking price. We both have day jobs and work/family commitments, and it's too difficult to try and track people down. Most purchases will be for primary works. The idea is to get money in the hands of artists through secondary sales help. Now, though secondary sales help, but now that royalties have been destroyed, it's much harder to justify. We need to stop saying that they've been destroyed. They've been changed, but especially at new artists dropping art in 2026, if it's new primary sales, they should be able to protect the royalties. If not, they need to speak to someone that can help them protect the royalties. Sorry for the rant. This is not a contest. I've already stated. I have no idea what I'm doing. The reality is 100K simply isn't enough. Most artists won't be a part of this. I sucks, I know. But I also understand that taste is subjective, and maybe my taste is terrible. So don't take a purchase or not a purchase as some sort of judgment. It's just two people who like art. A lot of you mentioned expanding in socials beyond Twitter. So I have an Instagram account, my profile, going to spend time there trying to build it out. I'll post about about our purchases there too. Let's see if we can onboard a few folks that way. We spar a lot, but I want to tip my hat to the Medici team. They've been doing this for ages already, and I've always loved it. I now have even more appreciation for all their efforts. Much respect to you. Finally, this will be out an ongoing program, I think, Lynette, and I have a few ideas on how to dip our toes into more patronage in 2027. So stay tuned for that one also. Also, another fun announcement coming in a few weeks around this. No more sitting around. The program starts new follow musical Netta, who will be running the monthly call out for art. Happy to answer questions. I'll pin this up top in a second. Hizzy, go ahead and add anything you'd like to on Bat Soup and this art focus.
I wanted to talk commercials. No, I'm joking. Obviously, it looks like this is a lot of the 6529 people, the transient labs. It's gotten a lot of attention, obviously, and I believe probably another $400,000 has been pledged towards him to do this. Matt Medved, the NFT Now people, just people did it every day last night. I'm like you, Cap. I feel the Kabbalist particular, concerns, but we'll see where it leads. And no, that's all I just wanted to say. Just kind of give a heads up that it's probably close to 500,000 now.
That's awesome. I'm just going to say it. Do your own research. I have not formed a final opinion yet, but some of the stuff that I've saw recently regarding 6529 is played a big role in my not wanting to get caught up in the next big art push. I probably said too much. I don't know. It's all, there's other threads out there. I'm not going to go into that today. We don't have time, first of all, but also I don't know. And there were some things that made me question that 6529, the memes collection, and who got supported and who didn't, and some potentially shady stuff that may or may not have occurred on chain. I don't know. I'm just saying it made me feel a way that wasn't necessarily good. And I'll just leave it at that. But no, shout out.
Sorry, real quick. What'd you think about the Coinbase ad? I generally do. I love commercials, and that reminded me that they could have done it like the E-Trade monkey dance, where at the very end they said, "We just spent $5 million on this. What are you spending your money on?" type stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't like, I guess I don't have it's not that deep to me. Like, it was fine. I did see, I saw the clips of like non-crypto people singing along to the commercial, and then they flashed Coinbase. If you missed it, it was a Backstreet Boys. It looked like a karaoke. Karaoke, they flash the words and then they highlight the words. And so it was like a karaoke Backstreet Boys commercial. And which I get, like, oh, it's a Super Bowl party. People are going to see this. They're going to start singing along. We're going to get them engaged. And they did. And then at the end, it was like, then they flashed Coinbase. They're like, everybody. I'm out of tune. And then they flashed Coinbase. Thank you for saving me on that one. The only person more out of tune than myself is Machiavelli. And then they flashed Coinbase. And then people started booing and like flipping off the TV. It's like, ugh, this is what the rest of the people think about crypto. I don't know. It was fine. Like, Coinbase also got a lot of slack when they flashed their QR code. This was better than the QR code, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an advertiser. I've never done a TV ad. I'm sure it's very challenging, especially when you have the pressure of the Super Bowl on you. It was like, if I were to rank my favorite commercials I saw, that would definitely not be one of them. But it's also not that deep to me. I don't think it really turned people off crypto. Now, did it convert people to crypto that weren't already on Coinbase? I don't know. Probably not. How did you take it, Izzy?
Again, I think it missed the mark. They could have made fun of themselves or something like that and gotten better. I did want to say that. Oh shit! I lost my thought. Crap. I'll come back to me.
It's all right. Yeah, again, it was okay. Like, I didn't like hate it. I understand the logic and why behind it. I don't know. I want to call it low effort, but I'm sure a lot of effort went into it. So I shouldn't. I'm not like trying to take shots at it. It just, I could see like a potential like oh shit, we got a Super Bowl commercial. What are we going to do next week? We haven't planned for this thing. And someone says, hey, you know what we could do? We could just do a karaoke song, and at the end of it, put Coinbase. Yeah, great idea. Like, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm sure it was months in the making. I'm sure they they paid big money to PR advertising agencies to come up with this concept. I don't know.
We could do better as a space cap. I am one of the tiny few individuals that minted the Super Bowl NFT a couple of years ago that everybody else got sent to homie's Twitter or LinkedIn page or whatever. And that thing still hasn't revealed yet. I'm still waiting.
It's amazing. The Digidaigaku, Gabe Layden, who actually did do a good amount for the space. Not necessarily. I don't actually have no idea what's going on with the collection, but was one of the first to launch the royalty protected contracts, and came in with a big gaming background. I haven't kept up. I don't know what Digidaigaku is up to lately, but I agree. I think we could do better as a space. It was fine. Again, not that deep to me. I don't really care. But yeah, if you were to ask me what were my favorite Super Bowl commercials, that just doesn't even make the list. Machiavelli, thoughts on anything we hit on so far? Feel free to get in here on anything you'd like to touch base on.
If I'm thinking about last night and all the commercials, there was this one commercial that I just really liked, and it was the Budweiser, the horse with the eagle. I just thought that was just a phenomenal, not a crypto commercial at all. And I did sing the Backstreet Boys song and didn't know it was a Coinbase commercial until the very end. I just did. I like to sing. The whole shebang was nice. I'm really excited about Death Star kicking off today. I'm just, not to shift the subject or anything like that. We had Henry the Grape on the show yesterday, and just the whole reasoning behind it and stuff like that. That was pretty awesome. That's just where my head is. Oh, we have a fashion show starting this week. What I'm saying, out in the other side.
Digital fashion, I assume, right?
Go ahead.
Digital fashion, I assume, right?
Yeah, yes, 100%. And we're doing community showcases today and tomorrow at 3 p.m. EST, and then we actually have designers coming in who will actually be designing with OP.XYZ wearables and stuff like that. And that fashion show part of the show will happen for a showcase on Wednesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. EST. Of course, we'll have our pregame space, and then we have World of Women this Saturday. Another prophecy fulfilled from the original video for the other side. When Curtis and Blue go swinging around, and we see them sitting in the spaceship. So very excited. Just watching all these things come to life. And NFTs are alive right now. They're alive on Ape Chain. There's a lot of old projects being revived and stuff like that, and there is still those few community members out there who are still around lurking in the shadows who want something to do and participate in, and I'm glad to see something green on the charts after this last week of blood and stuff, and the community's rallying, so on and so forth. But we're out here.
Good to hear, and glad you're out there. Glad you're enjoying it, and my chat is, I was trying to catch a couple other comments, and it is because I liked a few Bad Bunny posts. It's now the Latinas have entered the chat. It's not me doing this. It's the algo, and it slightly distracted me. Mr. Beast commercial outperformed Coinbase and created max engagement. Do work, use your brain, make money. That's kind of, I didn't even see the Mr. Beast commercial, but as I understand it, it was a puzzle or a quiz, and like whoever got it correct first won $100,000 or $1 million. Machiavelli, can you fill in the details? I didn't.
Yeah, it was $1 million, but Jimmy actually gave away like a Lamborghini, 150,000 gold bar, a Charizard, a sealed edition 1 box, like a whole year. He gave away all of this stuff leading up to that commercial, and like this preacher, Gary V was on there, Logan Paul, and they were just picking people off of Whatnot. It was the most streams and views that Whatnot had ever had.
Wow. I didn't realize all that.
They were breaking the server, bro. They broke the server so many times. Like, they had to pull back. They had never had like more than 500 or like a few thousand people or 100,000 people enter a giveaway before. And whenever he got on there was over 500,000 people trying to enter they give away at one
Wow.
time. They're crashing the servers, all that. It was wild.
Cool.
They gave away go ahead.
I would say I missed that, but Zane did add 580,000 live viewers on Whatnot yesterday. I see Teacher Katie, who in the chat, I say I'm going to Teacher Katie for two reasons. One, I also like the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. She might be slightly biased because of her Northeastern / Boston heritage, but I did enjoy the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, and also I know she's big into that everything that's happening on Whatnot due to VFriends and whatnot, pun not intended. But yeah, I've been bullish. I was speaking of being too early. I was too early to AI agents taking over crypto, and I was also, I think, too early to social shopping. Von Frunten can contest to this. I was bull posting and talking about live social shopping, in particular TikTok Shop, before it became a thing. And now I think it became so much of a thing that it ran people off of TikTok to create their shorts elsewhere because it engulfed the platform, is my understanding. I'm not a TikToker, but I'm very pro experiential retail, and live social shopping just makes sense to me, both in person and online. And not surprised to see Mr. Beast and everyone else you mentioned leaning into that and seeing some pretty big results. So I don't know what trying to think what we could sell here on shout out to the goats, good GM mug. Maybe we do some live social shopping with some coffee mugs on coffee someday. What do you think, Hizzy?
I definitely think we should. And so the Mr. Beast puzzle is still active to my knowledge. So the $1 million is still available. And yeah, so yeah.
Scott commenters must not have seen that yet. He is the puzzle solver. Yeah, 150K worth of gold coming to Mr. Beast Whatnot channel. Hang out with Gary and Logan Paul. That was Katie's post yesterday afternoon. And yeah, looks like again, I'm not knocking Coinbase. Again, I can't imagine the pressure and stress to pull together a 30-second commercial that you paid $6, $7, $8 million for. I have no idea what I would do if I was in that position. I have no idea what I would run. Go ahead, Philly.
You know, they got the whole world to stop and sing for a second, though. You know what I'm saying? They use there's something about what they did, and then with leaving their name at the end that resonated, whether people liked it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because you literally captivated everybody's attention who was watching that TV. Very popular song. You see the words. I know somebody in every household was singing that damn song, and then you ended with your brand. At the end of the day, I think that's brilliant marketing. Does it create longevity? Does it flip customers? No. But did it put Coinbase inside of everybody's mind? Absolutely. Who was watching that television?
Yeah, I guess you're not wrong. I'll hand it right back to you, and then I'll let you hand it to Hizzy. I'm going to refill my coffee before Henry joins us. But I will just say, actually, if I think about it, now that we're talking commercials, my favorite, even though I'd seen it before, my favorite is still the cloud commercials. I think they nailed it, and well done to that creative team. It was they didn't name OpenAI, but anyone who's used ChatGPT, it's like, oh yeah, I've experienced that. And then like the thought of like an ad popping, like I thought it was just really, really, really well done. Also, agree with Helpful Soul, Pepsi trolling Coke and the whole polar bear thing. Also a good commercial. Like commercials kind of had it was like, now that I'm thinking through this, like a pretty good run for commercials yesterday. Sometimes Super Bowl commercials are kind of a letdown. There was several good ones now that I think about it. I think that's probably also why I'm, I guess, indifferent to the Coinbase commercial is it was forgettable. Like, or those who remember it probably not in a positive light. And I even saw Coinbase clapping back at someone. That was the point. Like, you're talking about it because they said how awful the Coinbase commercial was. And I'm like, I don't know. I'll respectfully disagree. I don't know if you want people thinking your commercial was awful and they hated it. Like, yeah, they're talking about it, but I don't know if that should be the goal of a Super Bowl commercial. It should. To say no, Pepsi needs to stay in their lane. I don't drink Coke or Pepsi. I don't drink soda. I don't drink sugar except for 5 grams of it in rec water. But if you had to make me vote, I am in fact, when I was at Epic Universal, we went to downtown Disney Springs, they call it now. Popped into the Coke store and got my mom a Coca-Cola mug. Don't tell her, but she's big into Coca-Cola collectibles, I should add. Machiavelli, back to you, and then I'll let you hand it off to Hizzy, and I'll be right back. Appreciate the air cover.
Yeah. Other than that, I thought everything went really, really nice. Gary V was having the time of his life on that stream with Mr. Beast too. Like that was also kind of funny to watch. They gave some chick in a mermaid outfit $10,000 just for dunking her in water too. Izzy, high five. What was that thought you forgot?
So when it comes to Super Bowl commercials, one of the biggest things that people come, they come up with a wonderful commercial and people forget what it was about or who the brand was. And so you have to give Coinbase credit for this. The fact that the coloring, the visuals, we know who it was. I mean, the first internet company ever to have a Super Bowl ad, my friend worked there a long time ago. It was an automobile, like auto trader. It was called autobytel.com. And I don't know if no one remembers it. It's not like it was a Yahoo, but you can't always have a puppy monkey baby or, things like that. And Super Bowl commercials are hard. Where you normally forget what the ad was about or who was doing it.
If we go back a couple of years too, like when, you go back a few years when we started to get the crypto.com arena, all of these things started to pop off, like crypto really had hit mainstream at that point. And, before the FTX bubble and stuff like that. So I'm just happy to see that we're still in the lineup. I was just happy to see that there was a Coinbase commercial with them not having the Digital Clarity Act passed yet and stuff like that. Everything is still just in motion and in conversation. So I think it's healthy, and we can only watch this march on. Let's hope that there's a follow up to this Coinbase commercial. They're gonna have to do something.
I don't know.
To my knowledge, I believe it was on the Sphere also, just saying out loud.
It was absolutely on the Sphere. It premiered on the Sphere the same time that it premiered on at the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, maybe there's a follow-up. I don't know. I really don't know what they would where they would go from here. I think it was probably just a Super Bowl spot. Maybe they build a campaign around it. I really don't know, but again, it was fine. It was I saw some people hating it. Some people, I guess I don't know if I saw anyone that loved it. And
I thought it was cool, man. Listen, I just want to say this for all the haters. I thought it was really good, man. I did, because listen, you got the whole world to sing a song. Everybody paying attention was captivated for a moment because of a song, and then you end with your brand. I just think it's brilliant marketing.
The tight ends commercial was also funny, but I guess where I did out on the why Backstreet Boys? That's probably if you're gonna roll with that concept, why Backstreet Boys? It's not in pop culture right now. I don't, unless maybe I don't know, I'm not aware of Backstreet Boys doing a reunion tour or something.
Look at the age demographic of the average football user and stuff like that. I think that song, where it sticks in history and just its popularity and stuff, it has I don't know, it just rings for the ages. You know what I'm saying? From young to old, they will know that song. They'll hear it because it's been played everywhere. I think it was more about captivating that stance with that song than it was anything else. High five, Izzy.
Yeah, so my son and his two friends were watching with me and my friend, so almost 50-year-olds and 20-year-olds. And the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, they knew one person, so I don't know why the age gap is. You're exactly right.
This is I've got it on screen here, a screenshot. This is from Time, just breaking out some of the commercials. You mentioned the Budweiser one, Dunkin', Goodwill Dunkin'. It had many of the stars from 80s, 90s sitcoms. I guess the Lay's was okay. I thought the Pringles one was dumb. Sorry, I'm not a big Sabrina Carpenter fan, but yeah, I thought it was kind of dumb. What's your favorite Pokemon? I guess I was surprised to see Pokemon run a commercial. This one was wild. I am a big fan of dogs. My first thought was oh, that's cool. That's good. I've had dogs get loose before, and fortunately, they've always come back. I've never, quote unquote, actually lost a dog, but I even have it's not on Duke now, but I have a fee, it's like a GPS. It's a Fitbit, basically a step monitor for dogs that also can track your dogs. But it's pretty dystopian. And I also saw some people that were on the other side of the ring commercial saying this is not about dogs. And it's like Black Mirror-ish, like they have Face ID built into these things, obviously. And their position is, smart home tech turning it as a community safety feature rather than surveillance. But a lot of people, I think I saw more people commenting on how this is dystopian and Big Brother surveillance versus helping find your lost dog. So not sure if they view, I don't know. Maybe they viewed it as going to be controversial, maybe not, but definitely one that captured some attention. And as a dog lover, I really don't know how I net on that. I also am probably, I skew pro tech, and I thought the Emma Stone domain one was dumb. I didn't get it. I mean, I get it, but I thought it was just whatever. Don't even remember Skittles, so it wasn't memorable. Again, whatever. I think saying there's it's all the demographic. Payne says the demographic that has money knows Backstreet Boys. Yeah, I guess. It's Pokemon's 30th anniversary. That explains more. Was that their? Does anyone know? Was that the first Pokemon Super Bowl commercial? I don't remember ever seeing a Pokemon Super Bowl.
I think so, but I loved that commercial, by the way, too, because like it just, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like this AR situation. Like I felt like everybody just had like their AR Pokemon like jumping around them or something like that. And, they were just talking about who they were and stuff. And then, essentially everybody said their name of their favorite Pokemon at the end. I don't know, it hit a little different. When I first started watching, I was like, what is this? And then I realized that Jigglypuff was jumping around behind the girl in the background. And I was like, oh, just the way that they did the reality with the Pokemon, I liked that a lot. I don't it kind of hit for me.
I will say this, the take of bringing the 90s back, I'm for it. Like bring the 90s back. 90s was I don't even know if it's an underrated generation, but an incredible generation from music and culture and so many more things. I'm all for bringing the 90s back. In pop culture. And yeah, Zane does say it was the first Pokemon commercial. First ever or first Super Bowl commercial? That'd be wild. It was their first ever. Like if they've grown this brand without commercials, that is incredible. But even if it was just the first Super Bowl commercial, really, really impressive how they've built that IP. The Grubhub, no delivery fees was, I guess, fine. Yeah, again, there were some good commercials. I don't. The Instacart bananas I thought was weird. I missed the Serena Williams shooting herself with the GLP-1, but I heard some controversy. Again, my favorite was Claude and Anthropic. I thought they nailed it, like on every level. And let me say. I think they nailed it for myself. I think they nailed it for. I'll pin this up top if anyone wants to get this. Didn't get any love, so I'll pin up Times article on this breakdown here up top. I thought they nailed it from someone who knows what Claude is and uses Claude. I don't know. I'd be curious how well it converted. There was not, and I get it. Super Bowl commercials, you don't necessarily see call to action. Again, I'm not an advertiser. Certainly not a TV advertiser, so I'm not going to claim to know better. But I thought they nailed it from a content standpoint. Whether they converted or not, or accomplished their goals, I don't know. It was not the first Pokemon commercial ever, just the first Super Bowl commercial ever. And Jamber says, I swear I saw a couple kids yesterday with their phones kind of scanning the area, and first came to mind was Pokemon commercials. Pretty dope. Good. Super Bowl from other than the game, everything else I enjoyed thoroughly. Halftime show was great. The commercials were good, and the game was forgettable. I don't know if you fast forward 10 years and you ask who won Super Bowl 60. I don't know how many non-Seahawks fans will be able to name that one, but they deserve it. They played great defense, and with that, speaking of playing great defense, perfect perfect segue into our special guest of the day. Guest, maybe man of the hour, of the day, potentially the week if this thing really takes off. But talking about playing defense, a new approach to strategy tokens. We talked last week a couple times about Death Star and this upcoming launch from CyberKongz, which does go live today. And I'm going to bring on Henry the Grape here, and welcome to the show. Henry, before we talk about Death Star and this upcoming launch, do you mind? I know you got a crazy busy day. I appreciate you joining us. I know you're also mobile and in the car, so I will be respectful of your time. But do you mind, for those who maybe first time hearing from you, do you mind giving at least a little brief background, as much as you'd like or as little as you'd like to share? And if you've got like a 30, 60 second, TLDR on CyberKongz for those who might not be familiar as well, and then we'll talk all things Death Star. GM, appreciate you being
here. Yeah, GM Captain, good to see you, bro. 30 to 60 seconds on CyberKongz. Okay, first off, I'm Henry. I am the, I hate using the title CEO of CyberKongz. It sounds so official. But I'm part of the founding team of CyberKongz. And CyberKongz are an NFT project that launched in March of 2021. And we're kind of OGs that you might say are responsible for some of the mechanics that you see, or certainly saw in 21 and 22 with launching tokens that are yielded by the NFTs. We were kind of combining the ERC20 with ERC721 to just kind of create this new thing to breed our second collection. We're a bit degenerate, man. Wall Street Kongs is one of the first alpha groups, like official alpha groups in Web3, certainly by an NFT project. And we've just always been about just trying to experiment and find our way through Web3. We've done a lot in the metaverse, which obviously didn't land so well. We messed around a bit there on ordinals and etched through number 2. So we've just always been about just trying new shit and experimenting. And in January of 2023, we got subpoenaed by the SEC. So people who may have joined around that time maybe didn't hear as much from us because we spent 27 months fighting them, and we're happy to say that we've made it past that. We beat them, not in the courts, but they ended up dropping our case, and that kind of put us back in the driver's seat where we felt like we could continue on doing some cool shit. So hopefully, that was more than 60 seconds, but hopefully that gives a little blip.
That was perfect, and I appreciate you sharing. For one, I missed that you were rune number 2. I wasn't aware of that. I very much so remember you experimenting and doing things differently. You mentioned the fungible tokens. I like, core memory of mine is the banana taking over the timeline. I think Franklin at one point was, I don't know, making $700,000 a day or something. I'm kidding, not quite that much, but it was actually the CyberKong banana was the first time I think I heard the phrase the buy the cow, sell the milk. And that analogy of finding these NFT assets that were producing milk. And so appreciate the experimentation, appreciate you doing things differently. And I remember, but I'd forgotten about the whole SEC thing. And I think a lot of people, even those of us who were here at that time, probably don't fully appreciate what you all went through and the impact that had in terms of roadmaps and plans, and whether you continue to keep doing everything as normal, but just couldn't speak about it. And I know I'm not trying to pry any your
no, you're good.
In the wound, but is there anything you can share about that experience that maybe would surprise some people? Or I guess, is there a silver lining? Did anything come out of that? Getting the Wells notice, having to go back and forth, that, like, as you reflect now, you're like, this actually will benefit us and the team and the brand moving forward? Or was it all just a giant headache?
Dude, one of the most invasive things I've ever gone through in my life, when the federal government decides that they want to throw their weight behind going after you. You don't really, you see about that shit in the news, and you kind of assume that if the federal government is doing something like that there must be a reason, right? Like, there must have been something there. But the reality was there was nothing there. And no matter what we did to ultimately prove to them that there was nothing there, which, by the way, just to kind of give some context, what they were ultimately going after CyberKongz for, keep in mind, it didn't start with they were going after us for this particular thing, but where it ended, because all of the things they tried to go after us for, like, you must have created Banana so the team could dump it, but there were no team sales of the token. You must have done this to raise the price of this to be able to dump these, and that didn't happen either. What they ultimately the hill they were going to die on was that by selling NFTs and receiving royalties from secondary sales, which, let's be real, every project did at the time, right? And that's sort of the standard right now. If you're trying to be on the operator filter for OpenSea, everyone's trying to get their royalties. They were saying that was a violation of the Securities Act. Getting royalties. That was what we ultimately would have gone to court over, was that. And so, like, dude, you get a subpoena and you're like, what the fuck is this? And next thing you know, you're in for 27 months of I testified twice. You're talking about, like, the amount of information that they want from you is just like, it's a full-time job. It's literally a full-time job for a little over 2 years. And the thing is, we knew that there was so much at stake, not just for us, but for the wider space. And the reason that we never came out until we got Wells with, hey, by the way, we're under investigation, is because you always think that once you answer this next question by the SEC, once you get past that, they're going to understand, like, you didn't do anything wrong. So our legal counsel would always be like, no, don't go public with this. This could all be over, guys. It could all be over in a month. And then, like, it just drags on and on and on and on. And then finally, they wanted to settle with us. We were not willing to settle. And so they Wellsed us. This was not just a fight for us. It was a fight for the greater space. And, did any good come of it? Well, going back to rule number 2, we weren't allowed to do anything during that time to make money. We were just straight up. Our legal counsel was like, you can't sell anything. You can't do this. You can't do that. We did do our Genkai collection on Ronin. That was very edgy. Our attorneys weren't happy about it. But when it came to rule number 2, the whole idea of that was to just give. Keep us in the timeline, in the mind share, and just do something where, like, you're just giving. We spent damn near 14 Bitcoin in total between the airdrops and etching the rune. And looking back, like, I think runes. Sorry to anybody who's in runes or in ordinals. I still have a bag of ordinals, but, like, doesn't look like runes are going so hot. So you could look at it as another kind of failed experiment. But that's what we do. We're that's the shit we like to do. And ultimately, fighting with the SEC gave us the opportunity to do what we're doing right now, which is to try to experiment and do things like the Death Star.
It's wild, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing, and not that I can even pretend to have even remotely close to that live journey, but I guess relative on a much, much smaller scale. I've been through a couple labor board audits. I went through a labor board audit once that cost me maybe 2 months of time back and forth, and ultimately cost me, I think it was like $680 in back pay because we miscalculated monthly bonuses for managers who, even though they were salaried, they were hitting overtime. And it was some weird algorithmic calculation. And at the end of the day, it certainly wasn't the 600. I mean, at the time we had like a 6-figure bankroll. So it was not the $680. That was drop in the bucket. It was 2 months of a nightmare. And you use the word invasive. Like, it's like a tax audit, a labor board audit, not fun. I can't imagine the SEC, because there you're not talking just like maybe penalties and fines. You're talking like potentially, like, could get, like, worst case scenarios, you could potentially end up in a cage. Like, I can't imagine the stress and headache. And so respect for fighting for the space at large, and respect for still being here. I can imagine a lot of people, after going through all that, because this didn't work. We experimented. It didn't work. We dealt with this giant headache. We're just going to take our ball and go home. Not only have you not done that, you continue to experiment. And that's when I first saw, I don't know if you caught, I know you caught some of the clip or some of the show from last Friday. When the Death Star came out, at first I was like, the first initial gut reaction, I was almost like borderline disgusted. And then I started thinking about it more, and I netted out, like, what am I saying? Like, they're experimenting, they're doing something differently, and much respect. So respect for the journey. And I appreciate you experimenting, doing something new on chain. And while I'm not rooting for the downfall of Moonbirds by any means, I hold a Mythic and some Burb token. I'm looking forward to it. It's giving the space something new to talk about, something new to pay attention to. And it is different. Like, enough of the copy pasta stuff. Like, do different things, experiment on change, like, use the technology, build some smart contracts that are algorithmically programmed that someone hasn't done yet. And you don't have to love it. You don't have to love CyberKongz. You can be a huge Moonbird fans. I think it's still worth paying attention to and respecting the innovators and the leaders who are experimenting and doing things differently. So again, much respect for all that you've went through, and continue to experiment. And all that said, tell us about this. How did this come to be? Where did the whole idea for this Death Star thing? Can you speak to that? Like the beginning, like how did this, were you following token strategy or token works rather? And you're like debating whether to do one of their tokens and you're like, let's do our own. Like, do you mind, how did we get here?
Yeah. So, first off, this is meant to be provocative. It's performance art. It's something wildly different. And yet it's not terribly different from what we've already seen with strategy tokens. It's just an inverse of it. So yeah, to your point, like ton of respect for TokenWorks. I think Punk Strategy got called in the Kongz Discord at 2 million market cap. I was in it quite early. And unfortunately for us, and Captain, just let me know, can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure with my...
Perfect. Yeah, loud and clear. Appreciate you asking me. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so it's funny because post SEC, right, in March when our case was dropped, we're like, okay, it's time for us to kind of get back into the saddle. And the first thing we wanted to do was redo our tokenomics because Banana was emitted by Genesis Kongs. And there was still at the time, I think 6 years left on the contract. And it didn't work. Like, the token had gone up in 2021 and just slowly dropped. And then ultimately it's just like, it's sitting around 5 cents, 4 cents. We're like, we just need to change this up, get a little bit more of a modern tokenomic or emission schedule, I should say. So we were working all of this through the summer, right? And then we launched it in September. And unfortunately, like TokenWorks and that whole idea came afterwards. Because I think if we would have thought of the token, like the strategy token strategy, we would have maybe considered doing that as our token in the same way like Good Vibes Club did and some of these other projects. But we had already launched, so it was very difficult to just be like, let's redo this token again. We already had Banana. We had Banana migrate to Polygon. We had Banana migrate to Ronin. Now we got Kong back on mainnet. Like, if we got another token coming for our ecosystem, that's just going to be shit. So we like the strategy tokens, and one of our guys on the team had actually mentioned at the very beginning, like, guys, why don't we experiment with this? Maybe there's a way that we can like go after other projects, and it was kind of written off at the time. I think people were kind of like, this isn't serious, but it was written off at the time because we had other things we were working on. And there was we talk in voice chat every night, like in the Kongz community. And there was a night where we were all just talking about strategy tokens. And this was brought up, like this idea. We're like, hey, what if you did this? And what if you called it the Death Star? Because the goal of it is to do, kind of what we tongue in cheek say, like the goal of it is to destroy projects, even though like we know it's not going to destroy projects. But like, what if it did this? What if it bought the NFT from a targeted collection and then listed it 20% below floor price, and kept the flywheel going faster? Because that's one of the things that a lot of these strategy tokens lack, is that constant burn, because a lot of these leading up to the strategy token launching, the floors moved and they moved to like local all-time highs. So then the NFTs that the strategy tokens bought were listed 20% more than what the let's just say in this cycle what the all-time highs were for a lot of these. So you have strategies that are sitting on hundreds of ETH worth of NFTs that may never get burned, or they may get burned like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Who the hell knows? So we're like, what if you have this idea of listing 20% under the floor price, which, by the way, a project can't do that to themselves, right? I mean, the strategy tokens are supposed to be supportive of the ecosystem. Death Star is not supposed to be supportive of your own ecosystem. It's just supposed to be supportive of itself. And so the idea was like, let's give an ARB opportunity for somebody to buy an NFT 20% under floor price, and that will fuel back into the chart quickly, instantly. And people will say like, well, that's stupid. Aren't you losing that money? And yeah, you are, which is what we're going to find out. Does it work? Because you are losing it. But would you rather have it today, right now? Or do you want to wait until a potential time in the future that may or may not ever happen where you ultimately get that? It's like, do you want the 80 cents today, or do you want the $1.20, a year and a half from now? And we, for this strategy token, would rather have the 80 cents, I'm making that number up, but the 80% of what you spent going back into the chart instantly. And so it's supposed to just be like, I don't want to just say fun. It's an experiment, dude. It's taking something that already exists, tweaking it a bit, and seeing what, what do people think about it? And I keep saying, like, if people think that this is the demise of the space, which I think at this point people have come around to realize, like, yeah, it's going to be hard to destroy a project. Like, is there a scenario where you could really affect a floor? For sure. But is it going to destroy a project? I think that'd be hard to see. But if it did, bro, if it actually did, then what is all of this anyway?
Well,
if some degens could just spin this thing up and then all of a sudden you're crushing projects left and right.
I would also add, it's kind of like the tide goes out, the emperor wears no clothes. Like I'm slipping my brain is not fully functioning in terms of like the correct analogy I'm looking for here. But it's like if Death Star really destroys a project and it's the end of it, well, what was the project anyway? Was there anything there, right? Like it's like, is there no supporters? Is there no one to step in and buy these assets at a significant discount? Like I get and I also saw like and they might have been doing it for engagement, but some of the first posts I saw, I think where I found or first heard about Death Star was some of the ones that were adamantly against it. And this is going to destroy collections. This is blur farming on steroids. And I read that not really open-minded. I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be a death spiral. This could lead to cascading loan liquidations. And could that happen? Sure. But something you brought up, and I'm not trying to like take shots at Token Works or their token, but you brought up some very valid points. And one of the things that I've commented on a few times on that other model is not only listing them for 20% above floor, it creates these sell walls. And to the point where I exited a couple my good vibes position because I was like, listen, there's 300 of these things listed. It's not going to break through this for a while. And so and in hindsight, I was right, but then I didn't rebuy the dip that it caused. It's an experiment on chain. It's doing things differently. And once I started really thinking about it with my own brain, I'm for it. Like, man, hats off on the execution of the marketing and the branding. Like Death Star, it's like spot on, like well done, and bring some attention back to the space. Get some people talking about the space. Get some people even looking at NFTs again and bring NFTs back in the conversation. Which I think the worst thing isn't people are bearish NFTs or this is dumb. The worst thing is being apathetic to it and just not caring, like no one talking about NFTs. And I think this is certainly of everything we've talked about for weeks, this is the most impassioned we've heard people talk about NFTs for a while. So I think that's a net positive for the space, for NFTs at large.
I love it. And with the rollout of this, it's like the idea is with any art, okay? It's supposed to make you feel something. Anything we do in crypto makes you feel something. And I said this yesterday. Usually the feeling that you feel when you're engaging with crypto is FOMO, okay? Now, people who collect art, like actual, like, digital art, I'm talking like X copies or a lot of money or any of the art that's out there, like there's a little bit something different sometimes there. There's an affinity for the artist. There's like maybe a true passion for just being a collector of that person and an appreciation for it. And that happens sometimes in NFTs as well, right? Especially with, like, let's say with the blue chips, established projects, people buy it. They may not necessarily care about the price as much. I mean, they care about it, but they're like, I really like this and it represents something I believe in, so I want to own it. But a lot of times, whether it's in the trenches or if it's, a new mint that spins up on whatever chain and it's here today and gone tomorrow, the feeling is just FOMO, right? It's just like, I want in and then I want out and I'm hopefully going to exit with a profit. This is supposed to make you feel something different. It's supposed to just make you question, what is all of this? And I think it did that job, because you may come out of the gate and you may hate it and you may think we are the biggest assholes on the face of the earth. You may come out of the gate and you love it because you feel like, man, this space has just become such shit, packed with VCs, the cabal, the KOLs, everybody the shot callers who lead this and lead that and then lead a bunch of people off of a cliff when they dump. Like, in the end, it's supposed to invoke a feeling. Yep. And I think it's done that. But like, Dude, we've done so much when I say giving in the Kongs community. It's one of the things like we've been known for. We donated $1.5 million to Virunga National Park. And dude, we're a small team, small project, not VC funded. We've given a lot within our community. You just look at the last thing we did in September when we rebranded our banana token to Kong before we ever gave to our own community. And we still haven't yet. We still have not done our seasonal distribution. We gave to outsiders first. We even caught shit within our community for that. We did that OpenSea airdrop where we gave to users of OpenSea. We've done all of these things. We partnered with Adidas. We partnered with 9DCC. We've done a toy in Japan. We did all of these things along the way that we thought were the lane we were supposed to be in. Like, okay, we were going into the metaverse. That didn't work. We're going to try to go into merch and toys because we're going to try the IP play. That didn't work. We're going to just try to be nice to everybody and maybe they'll recognize us for what we are. That didn't work. So we're just like, post SEC, we're just like, all right, let's just be what we are. Let's fuck around a little bit. Let's have some fun. Let's like not be so fucking serious about every single thing that we do. And I think one of the other things personally that I've just seen in this space, having gone through the SEC investigation and having been a part of it since, end of 2020 is like, I just see a lot of this for what it is, which I think is just really hollow. I think a lot of what we do here is really hollow and really shallow. I think everyone wants to pretend like we are changing the world every day when we're not. By the way, that does not mean I'm not bullish on NFTs. That does not mean that I don't think there's some amazing communities out there. But, when Spencer tweeted the other day, which by the way, like we know Moonbirds is the first target. We weren't exactly sure. We had our plan for how we were going to release that Moonbirds were the first target. But when Spencer posted that on Thursday, like afternoon or evening, East Coast time, where he said like launching a token in this market is really difficult to do. This is a gladiatorial arena. That's what he said. And those who survive it will lead the next, run. And I was just like, oh, bro, you just gave us a layup here. I totally agree, by the way. I totally agree. It is an arena. We may all be in the same league. We may be playing the same sport. But in the end, I don't see this as we're all doing this all together. We're all holding hands and walking into this together. It's not like that. My job as, the lead for Kongs is to, try to make sure that we stay relevant, is to try to make sure that we're making our community happy. And I think I've seen through this, which was a gamble to put the Kongs brand behind it. You go on our Discord and you see a whole bunch of people that have changed their names to something Star Wars related. They've got Sith style, PSPs going on right now, and they love it. And so for a small team, which doesn't have KOLs in it, it can be really hard to capture attention out there. And so from that standpoint, I think we did a great job on it. Does it work? Do people take part in it? Is it the next thing that people are like, holy shit, you got to get into Death Star? Well, we're going to find out in 3.5 hours. Does it work? Do people care? Is it fun? And that's sort of the experiment of all of it.
I love it, man. This was so good. The response, like picking Moonbirds first, like the quote tweet, this isn't a daycare, this is Death Star. It was so good. Some of us, we talked like maybe Spencer's in on it. Maybe Spencer is in on it the whole time and they're working together because it was that on point. And that like he gave you a layup to like, okay, here, especially if you're already considering Moonbirds as target number one, this was like, you couldn't have given him a better post to send out, for you to quote tweet to kick this thing off. So yeah, well done leaning into it. And while I do like leaders in this space collaborating and working together, to your point, you're building businesses. Like business isn't fair. Business is not, it's not, all rainbows and fairy dust. Like it's hard and everyone's not going to survive. And there is some, if you're capturing attention, especially right now where there's not a lot of new entrants, you're likely taking that attention from someone else, whether it's another chain or a perpdex or another NFT collection. And I just, while this is, yes, maybe taking attention away from others, I would also say there's a world here where this actually benefits Moonbirds. Like this potentially, imagine like this plays out a couple ways. One, their floor dips and they're down, it goes from 1.2 or whatever it is to under an ETH, and their Moonbird holders are upset with CyberKongz. There's also a world where they survive it and they come out of this stronger than before, and they bring in some new ambassadors that were able to pick up their asset at a discount. Like it could go both directions. And I think at the end of the day, for me, you said it, like art should be performative. It should invoke emotion. I don't know. It's hard to, unless you're just truly checked out, it's hard to look at this and not feel a certain way. And the more I think about it, the more excited I get, because it's bringing back, again, you may not like it, but it's bringing back fun. It's bringing back this. I said earlier, like the PvP went a little too far at one point, but like in the early days, it was fun when people were having fun with it. And it wasn't just trying to choose my words properly here, because while I do think some are really building and there's some real meats and potatoes to what they're building on, I also think there's a lot of virtue signaling, and there's a lot of just BS that people are just preying on other people and not really. It's kind of some low effort. It's copy pasta. We're just going to do the same thing. I'm also not trying to make a PvP, but like just how you describe it, like leaning into this and leaning into the Star Wars theme and the community rallying around it. There's also something there. Like Death Star's a thing where my brain, I think back to like the dark mode for Doodles, and I still know what the hell that was. Like they changed their PFPs, they talked about dark mode, but nothing, to my knowledge, literally nothing came from it. It's like, it was like almost like a tease. Whereas here it's like, you're not just changing your PFPs and leaning into a Star Wars theme because you're trying to, just get people sharing, your IP again on the timeline. You're actually building something. You're actually experimenting something new that's not been done before. And I think that in itself, remove everything else, doing something new on chain and experimenting and getting other people to talk about, that is a big net positive for the space. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, dude, great points too. I think the virtual signaling, the glazing, like the 24/7 glazing that happens in this space, it's just, for somebody like me, it's off-putting. And I'm like, you know what? The best place for us to be. There was a while within our own ecosystem, especially like during the SEC stuff, where like you're out in front, you're still doing spaces, you're still talking, you're talking at events and things like that. And the thing is, it started for a little bit to feel like all of a sudden I was in a role that like didn't really feel like me. It just didn't feel like me. It just felt like, okay, I got to just be a cheerleader no matter what. Like, even if we suck at what we're doing, I got to pretend it's awesome. I hate that shit. In real life, like, I'm a pretty real person. The guys who know me in Kongs, like, when I say I try to keep it real, I think we all try to keep it real. But, like, I just try to be really fair about how I view things in real life, in Web3. I can say, like, what we rolled out over this summer with the rebrand of Kong, with the art evolution for our babies, it didn't hit, bro. For numerous reasons, it didn't hit. It was a dud. There was no reception from the space. Nobody cared, right? And it just started to really make me think, like, all right, so then let's just do shit that matters. You're not going to hit a home run every time. In fact, it's really hard to hit home runs in this space. It's hard enough to just get on base, right? Yep. So in the end, I'm just like, whatever we do, I just want it to feel what we call Kongish. Like, I just want it to feel like it's part of who we are. It's part of what our community is. And I do think that there is a non-vocal majority, the people who aren't on X all the time, who aren't in all the spaces. I think there's a lot of people who fuck with this. They're just like, oh, and I say that because I've had so many DMs from people. I've had so many DMs and they're like, dude, Henry, I love it. Like, ballsy, I love it. And I think we as a team love it because it feels more like us than anything that we've done in the last handful of years. So we're excited for it. And dude, people get the wonderful thing about all of this. And I kind of joked about this in a post the other day. I just said, like, you don't actually think people are going to buy this thing, right? Like, everybody, like, this is terrible for the space. This is horrible for NFTs. You don't actually think anybody's going to buy this, right? Because in the end, like, I think people will. And I think people will because this is what this actually is. I think, yes, to your point, like, there are people building stuff out there. There are people building brands, and it's going to take a long ass time for those brands to be something IRL, but they can still coalesce their community, etc. But for the most part, this is what this space is. This is what it is. And I saw somebody post the other day about the pearl clutching of NFT projects is going to be fabulous. And I was like, bro, you said it as perfectly as anybody could. That's exactly what this feels like at times, is everybody's just, they're too good for it, or they're, the pearl clutching analogy I thought was on point.
It is. I agree. And it feels real. It feels authentic. And it's, again, I respect and refreshing. Like, this doesn't seem like a project or experiment that many people would call refreshing, but it is. It's refreshing because it is something new in a time where we're not seeing much innovation in it. Like, the innovation we're seeing in NFT world, especially the NFT PFP variety, is a fungible token, and we're going to do our TGE differently. Okay. I mean, really, TokenWorks probably is the most innovative thing we've seen as it relates to NFTs in a while. And there's some others attempted to just copy pasta that and do their own thing. And I don't think that worked out very well. This is evolving on that, taking a completely different approach, the literal opposite approach to that. And I'm rooting for it. I'm not rooting for the downfall of Moonbirds. Please don't take that out of context. I don't think that it's going to be the downfall of Moonbirds. It also, I am glad that they were targeted, number one. Not just did Spencer play into it very perfectly with that post, but they've got Burb token, allocation and tied in those NFTs. Like, there is a real floor. There is, even for someone that's not a community member or a fan of the IP or a fan of Spencer, there at some point buyers will step in because there's Burb token in these NFTs. Like, it's not going to go to zero. So people say, oh, this is just going to be a massive, it's just not going to happen. So I think it's a, I don't want to say safe, but it's a safer collection maybe to start with. But for those who, we did go through I have your article pulled up here on stage about the launch. It launches today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. 1 p.m. Eastern.
Maybe take us through, if you have time. I know we probably took more than you were planning this morning.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. Happy to keep going.
You said, like, who's going to buy this? Like, I'm not buying it at 99% tax, but I'm going to be watching today, and I'm probably, like, I've been doing I haven't officially kicked it off. I've been talking about like one trade a day and forcing myself to stay in tune, even though I'm not over trading right now. I think the market is pretty uncertain on not just NFTs, but majors and everything in between. This thing, there's 1 billion tokens. It launches today at 1. At launch, there's going to start with an initial 99% tax and then decrease approximately 1% per minute. Following the TokenWorks approach there to these fair launches until it reaches 10%, where it remain fixed. All tokens available at launch with no other method of attaining. So to your point again, this isn't to pad the team's pockets. What else if someone's listening today and maybe they were on the fence of whether they like this or not, why? What you can say, I'm not trying to get you in trouble or another Wells knows, but why should they consider Death Star today? Why would someone be interested in this launch? Why Death Star?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. You ran through the mechanics perfectly, so you're spot on with everything you said. It launches just like a normal strategy token. There are no allocations for anyone. I will be buying it myself, just like everybody else. This is a fair launch. Why would you buy it? Well, somebody may want to buy it because they want to vote for the next target. Maybe they want to see Death Star move to a different project other than Moonbirds. Somebody may be buying it just because, like, they want they want the potential to see some gains, and they're interested to think that if they get in early and if the flywheel works, which in theory the flywheel works, right? So somebody may be buying it for that, for that reason alone. Usually anybody is buying anything like this because they want to make money on it. And I'm not saying you're going to make money on this. I would never say that. But if you want to take part in an experiment and if you want to be early, that's the reason you may want to buy it. The other reason is just, like I said at the beginning, it's for defense. Because once the season starts, the voting period begins for the next project that Death Star will target in 3 days. So there will be a list of 5 projects that you can vote on. At the end of the 3 days, Death Star turns to the next project. It's also possible, like, Death Star could stay on Moonbirds if everyone decides they want it to be.
So that was my next question. Is Moonbirds, or I guess with the current projects, first one's Moonbirds, so then will it be one of those 5 that's shortlisted, whichever one is currently targeted by Death Star? Is that it?
I think it needs to be. Yeah.
I
I think like Moonbirds will be on the list because it needs to be. Like if the goal of this is to see how far can you push the envelope, then I think you should be able to allow for constant bombardment if that's what people want. The rest of the projects that will be on the list are going to be projects that are household names. You won't be surprised by any of them. And we as a team will always choose the projects that are on that list. Now, part of like what we may continue to do is to see like, okay, well, can we open this up for a vote for people to vote on what project they may want to see on the voting list? There's a lot of mechanics to this that we left off because we didn't know like what the reception to it would be. You just have, you have no idea. Is anyone going to care? So there are things that if this is successful that we can work back into the Death Star, but we're just like, okay, listen, Kongs have a tendency to overcomplicate the hell out of everything. Come into our Discord if you want to know how much we can complicate things and have us explain to you our ecosystem, and you'll be like, okay, like interesting, but it can be complicated, right? So we're like, let's just not do the shit we normally do and not make this so complicated that it's hard to understand. Let's get this out there. Let's see if it works. And then there's things that we can add on to it if we decide like that it makes sense to do so. So yeah, at launch, you can begin to vote on the project. You have to lock up your tokens, and they are locked up during the voting period. So they will unlock after the voting period. You can just claim them back. You don't need to lock up all your tokens. You can lock up whatever, 5% of your tokens to vote, 10%, 50%, whatever it may be. So if this is successful, then I imagine you start to have people playing more of a defensive play on it. But dude, I've run through, and we as a community have run through so many different variables, and there's so much gamification to it that like, God knows what's going to happen. Who knows?
I really miss the gamification of NFTs as well. Like the decisions I've often will liken back to like the first time I had to decide whether I want to burn a Punks Comics 1 for a Founders DAO pass. Like, and I know today that probably sounds silly even as an example, but that was stuff that like I enjoyed it. Like make me stress a little bit, make me think about game theory a little bit.
You get it, bro. Exactly. I remember those days. It was in the same spot as you with the, Pixel Vault. Exactly. You know what? We had hoped when we did what we did this past summer with the rebrand of Kongs and the Kong token and the art upgrade, we kind of hoped that we were going to run back some of the fun of the old days of baby breeding. And when I say we didn't capture minds outside of the ecosystem. So I think this is one of those things where it really does bring back that old school feel, gas wars and making decisions for like, do I, don't I? It's supposed to be fun like that. And again, like, surprisingly, like, yes, I know some people hate it. I've had people reach out to me and say, can you target our collection? Like literally, there's people who are, I wasn't envisioning that we would get that. So it's been an interesting reception to it. And I think, people get to decide for themselves, like, what's the reason that they want to get in? I want to get in because, like, I don't know, I'm a little bit of an agent of chaos, dude. I just kind of like to fuck around a little bit. I like the fuckery. I like when I see somebody doing fuckery. I don't like seeing people scam people. Yeah. That's a different type of fuckery.
Exactly.
Give me my fuckery in a transparent manner. Like if it's transparent, I'm good with it. It's when people are scamming, that's when it's crossing the line, and we're not for that at all. But like transparent fuckery, transparent, chaos. Why not? Like, why not? Are we all too good for it? Is that where we've gotten to? We're all too good for something like this? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we are.
Well said. I'm all for the transparent fuckery. I appreciate it. I do have one quick, like, I guess, logistical or technical question, and then we got a few comments in the chat I'll get up. If anyone else has any questions, drop those in the chat, or feel free to come up on stage. As long as Henry can hang out, we will we'll get all the questions we can answer to the best of our ability. Regarding the lock into the tokens, I see it says tokens must be locked any amount above 1,000. No need to lock the full balance. So hypothetically, if I have 10,000 tokens and I lock 1,000 of them, am I only able to vote with the ones that are locked, or do I have? Yeah. Okay, makes sense. So I assume
exactly.
Okay, got it. Quick.
Fun. Also, I should to the voting mechanic. You'll see in the UI there. You'll be able to see. This isn't like a blind vote. You'll be able to see the current progress of votes.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see like who's in the lead by what percentage, et cetera. And I'm pretty positive it shows the total amount of tokens that have been committed to the vote. So you can kind of work out numbers to see how your tokens could influence.
Nice. Good disclaimer. As always with anything on a launch day, make sure you're clicking official links. The website, the contract address, all launch components will be only communicated from their official account. We've got. I did pin up a nice doodle from Cab from Klanos, but the rest are the CyberKongz official account up there. So if you're not already following, go give that a follow. Only click links from that official account. Hop in their Discord. Be wary of scams, fake tokens, etc. Others will attempt to capitalize on this, and just make sure you're using the proper links. Should I also interpret that? Will there be a new? There will be a new website for Death Star, not necessarily on CyberKongz. Okay, makes sense.
Yep. And dude, thank you for the disclaimer. Until we officially announce not just the token, but we will at some point have an X account that we will message through. But all of that will be done, like we will be vocal about that from the CyberKongz account. So unless you see it from the CyberKongz X account or in our official announcements channel in Discord, consider it a scam. So yeah, exactly. It'll be a different site, and we will link it on our X page, and we will also link it in our Discord in the official announcement channel.
Perfect. No, thanks for that. Not necessarily a question, but a quick comment from Meta in the chat says the SEC created the Darth Vader arc is amazing. The villain arc we never asked for, but always needed. Then he has good vibes. Good vibes club can be the Obi-Wan Kenobi to your Darth Vader. And I'm laughing, but like, why do you think Star Wars is such a popular IP? It's not because it was all good guys. Right, like you need the villain arc. Like you need some contrast. You need some tension. Like you should feel emotion. Like if it's everyone's all best friends and getting along, and it's all like people are going to check out pretty quickly. Or you just get the fake virtue signaling, like happy-go-lucky. That's just not real. It's all, half of that shit's fake. Like this is, I think, very real, and I hope we see more of this. I didn't think I would be saying this in 2026, but you think about all these AI agents coming on chain. Like, I don't want an AI agent to go like start stealing from people and hacking their local computers. But like, what's the unproductive agent? Who's the agent that's not just helping people complete tasks and being a virtual assistant? Like, bring some of that stuff into the conversation.
Dude, yes. And we're massive Star Wars fans in Kongs. The team is massive Star Wars fans. I'm a nerd. I read the novels. Like, I love that shit, bro. I eat, drink, sleep Star Wars. So I'm with you. Like, Vader is Anakin. Anakin's arc is just, I don't know. It's one of my favorite of all time. So, I think the SEC probably did contribute a little bit, probably a lot bit to the to this arc for CyberKongz. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was I think they helped. I think they helped a lot.
Good. There's the silver lining in the earlier question. From,
there you go.
I've skipped over. I should have asked when you first came up. We were talking Super Bowl and Super Bowl commercials. Machiavelli, I see your hand up. We'll go to you you're on deck. We'll go to you here in a second. But I gotta ask because, well, first, was there any favorite commercials? But secondly, more importantly, I saw The Mandalorian and a new movie coming out in May of this year. I was not aware there was going to be a new movie. And then I also saw there's a Star Wars Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling next May. Are you a Mandalorian fan? Are you pumped for the new movie? Any takes one way or the other?
Yeah, I am a Mandalorian fan. To be honest with you, it's funny because my brother is also a huge Star Wars fan, and like, Kathleen Kennedy leaving Disney, I think is great for the Star Wars canon. I've even found there's a lot of people who hate episodes 7 through 9, but I still find joy in watching all Star Wars. I like The Mandalorian. Honestly, I have found Andor to be like one of my favorites. Like if you watch Andor, the first 2 seasons, followed by Rogue One, and then into A New Hope, it's awesome. So yeah, I'm just excited for anything Star Wars that comes out, whether it's the cartoons or whether it's the live action stuff. I think it's all awesome.
Very cool.
Rebels is up there as one of my favorites as well.
I have not watched Andor. Was not even, maybe it was on my radar, but not. And this is, I'll add it next to my list. I'm all caught up now on Night of Seven Kingdoms. But last episode was a banger. All caught up on Pitt and some of the other shows I'm watching. So I'm looking for a new something I can binge. I'll add Andor to the list. Machiavelli,
you won't be disappointed.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Star Wars fan as well. But yeah, they lost me at some of the new stuff. And not that anything bad. I didn't keep up with it. And now I kind of feel like, I'm not in the know. And so it's like a commitment of time. I need to watch it all to be in the know of what's happening. And I haven't made that leap yet, but Andor looks like a pretty digestible one to jump in, and a couple seasons I can certainly do. Machiavelli, go ahead. Question for Henry.
Some people choose the dark side. I was merely born of it. So listen, I love what Henry is doing here, and it gives like this opportunity for gamification. I think that the whole space needs to kind of like take a look at this, and like right now the Moonbirds and other projects have a chance to form the Rebellion. And the Rebellion could literally purchase these NFTs for 20% discount and go switch it up and sell them for 20% over the floor. Like there's a lot of process or a lot of story or a lot of things that could be done here to gamify the situation even more. And I just love the thought process that Henry and them are taking. And they chose to take something that everybody else was doing and change it up and approach the space in a completely new way. And I love that, because that's the evolution of NFTs. You know what I'm saying? That's the evolution of this space and utilizing the tools in front of us. And it really is a creator's market. So listen, if I can catch that Moonbird at a 20% discount, I'm catching that Moonbird at a 20% discount. I don't know who wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like if you really look at it across the board. So I'm super pumped about what they're doing. I will be participating in Death Star. And I look forward to it. I really, really do.
You bring up a good point, Machiavelli. I'm excited to see how these other projects respond to this. Do they ignore it? Do they participate? Do they go buy the ones that are listed below floor? Like I'm truly very interested and curious how others will respond. I know you said you've heard, Henry, from some that haven't, or they want to be included. Have you heard from Spencer? Have you heard from Moonbirds, or have you gotten even sentiment from that community, how they're approaching this launch today?
So I have not heard from Spencer, nor would I expect to. I have heard from different projects that think, especially before the first target was announced, people were a little bit like, "Oh my gosh, this could be a problem." I think the intel that I have is that the Moonbirds think that they're going to be fine. And they may be fine. And I think to Machiavelli's point, yeah, bro, dude, if you don't think that I'm excited as hell to see how people engage with this and gamify things off of it, that's what this is all supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. So, do I think Moonbirds are scared? No. I would assume that out of the gate, that 20% ARB opportunity, let's be real, bots are eventually going to get them. Mm-hmm. But if this is successful, I would love to find a way for us to be able to, when I say gate those NFTs, where whether it's token holders, whether it's Kongs, somehow that they're guarded for a bit, where you're giving those opportunities to holders versus potential bots. These are all things that we've thought about. We're not there yet, because why put time into that if in the end this thing flops anyway, right? I said it yesterday when I was talking with Machiavelli, dude, this is a rocket, right? How far off the launch pad does it get? Does this thing go up a half a mile and then blow the fuck up? Or is this thing going past the moon? We have literally no idea. And so I think we wait and see how the next handful of days go, and then we get back into the workshop and figure out what's the next thing we can do with it.
That's great. I love it. What do I know? But I think that's the right approach. Is you've got the idea, you've got the structure, the foundation, but not all the details. And sometimes see how things play out before you finalize or lock in all these details. I hadn't thought of it, but I love the idea. If there's a way to hold back, or at least for a short period of time, again, as I'm going to be watching, probably a buyer of Death Star, especially if it's at a reasonable price at that 10% tax. Imagine if you're holding 1,000 Death Star and that gives you the opportunity to buy these NFTs at discount, or maybe there's an auction that goes back. There's so much you can do with it. And I think knowing where you're coming from, knowing that you are a team of experimenters and doing things differently on chain, it gets me excited to see what might be next. And yes, it does.
Oh, sorry, Captain.
No,
did I cut you off there?
The rocket does have to launch. It's got to get off it's got to get out of the starting gates, but that's going to happen. And then, okay, what's the next? Because just knowing that this isn't the end. This is just the first inning here, and it's captured attention. It's making people feel away. Like I am genuinely excited. Okay, what's next? Now it is, I'm going to use the word again, refreshing that we have leaders in this space experimenting, doing some things differently, and something to follow along, something to pay attention to. Whether you're on the sidelines and just paying attention because you're curious, or you want to participate, it gives you a reason to participate in something different, not the same old thing we've seen time and time again.
And dude, if you listen to all this and you think CyberKongz are just a bunch of greedy bastards, I want you to just know this. We could have coded this thing where we buy the floor and then instantly dumped it into bids, right? Like that could have been an element. We never had to do anything with nuking 20% under, because in effect, by nuking the bids, that's the part that starts to drop the floor price, right? Yep. That's the Death Star. It's like, it's not the action of listing it 20% under, because that's done on our native marketplace. It's the action of somebody taking that, dumping it into bids, and as those bids go, like when I checked yesterday, I think it was like, don't quote me on this, 25 moonbirds to 1 ETH, give or take, on the bids. So the idea is that the point is, we could have just said, we're going to buy these and we are going to dump them into bids. We left that ARB opportunity out there for the space. That was the goal. Like, don't think that we weren't thinking, how can people benefit from this? This was one of the reasons that we thought people could benefit, is to leave that 20% ARB opportunity out there for the people. Now, again, initially, I assume at some point bots are going to get on it. But that's when we can kind of get into the workshop and just see what can we do to kind of enhance the experience for people, because that is an important part to us, is that we're not just being selfish about this, and that we're not taking full advantage of this, that we're allowing other people in Web3 to be able to have that opportunity.
I love it. Hizzy, question for Henry?
Yeah, real quick, if you've covered it or not, is pretty much anything on ETH a target? Possibly art, as well, like art blocks or Fidenzas or Beeples?
Bro, I love you, by the way. Yes, anything can be. I think out of the gate, you're going to see PFPs. Okay, like in the first list of 5, you're going to see PFPs. But nothing is off the table. I think what we have to make sure of for any project that's listed is that it's a project that has liquidity. Because there's no point in going after something that's already dead. You need to have something that has volume and has liquidity. Otherwise, like you want that spread to be pretty close, between bids and floor price, because you want that opportunity to be out there for that ARB opportunity. So yeah, dude, all of those things have gone through my head. Absolutely. Art, it could be anything. So yeah, Fidenzas, Squiggles, Beeples, like it could be anything.
I love it, and appreciate the thoughtful approach as well. I think for those that, again, I don't know, I'm not going to attempt to think what others are feeling, but for those that think this is just you're just evil, or this is just a greedy play, like I don't know how you could listen to you today and come away thinking that as well. Like we're here for the experimentation, and moonbirds are going to be just fine.
It is anything but rage quitting. Honestly, it's Kongz. And if people don't know Kongz, this is a bit who we are. We're just a bunch of fucking degenerates. And if that's something you like, you should come check us out, because that is like the basis of who we are. I might have had 1 or 2 people in the Kongz Discord that just dislike it, and I understand why. I understand why somebody wouldn't like it, but the overwhelming majority of people are just absolutely jazzed for it.
And that is important. That's yes, it's bringing the space, giving everyone something to pay attention to, something to talk about, but also you talk about your community and giving them something fun to coalesce around, giving them something fun to talk about, to change their PFPs and give them it's not just change it. It's like there's something with this. I think this launch today might surprise some people in terms of the volume and the attention it does get at 1 o'clock when this actually goes live, because it's for many reasons, especially hearing you think through it and know that this is just what we're seeing is really just a piece of what you've thought about and what will eventually come out. I'm excited. This is, as far as a token launch goes, not blowing smoke. Since token works, there's not even anything really close to this that's as far as new and innovative and taking a real different approach. So much respect. We'll go back to Machiavelli real quick, and then we'll get Proof Alpha DJ in here. Probably time for one more question. Then we got to get Henry out of here. He's got a busy day today. Machiavelli, quick response, and then we'll get Proof Alpha DJ in.
I just wanted to say, I kind of lost my train of thought because I had two other things happening in the background. I just think that this is awesome. I want to see this succeed, and I want to see how the communities kind of react to it. Henry said something to me yesterday that kind of made sense. He said, we did all of the shit that every other NFT did. We did the plushies. We did all, he said, and our holders never cared about it. He said, but when we went and did degenerate things, you know what I'm saying? They did the runes on. They loved it. All the community rallied behind it. And they had like this force of motion to where like they felt that they've been like going through this identity crisis, this misalignment this whole time because they were trying to be what everybody else was trying to be. And that's not who they are. And so I love to see this evolution of this brand and for their community to stand behind it and walk through. And I hope that it does some good and it opens some eyes because this is the evolution of the space and we're having fun and this is what it should be.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Machiavelli lost his train of thought. Someone said that he has just wait till codas are targeted second. And no, I'm kidding.
Listen, listen, Henry, make sure that I can get those codas first, bro, because they'll have a home. They're not going back on the market.
Proof Alpha DJ, final question for Henry here.
Yes, sir. Henry, excellent show yesterday. I think you are kind of you're turning the tables where this is kind of growing on people at this point.
Yep.
From rage quit to, hey, man, you know what? This might be a thing. And my question is, in all of the pub tour, I haven't heard anyone ask you if your collection is going to be able to be in the voting, to be in the running, to be targeted.
Okay, no, dude, great question. Kongs are immune, punks are immune. We tweeted the other day that punks have immunity. Adam from TokenWorks he put a post out there, which was really nice of him, that like he likes seeing people experiment and kind of spin off of what he created. And we responded to that. We already had that. We already knew as a project that punks were never going to be targeted, just paying our respects to the punks community and just what punks have done for all of us. And likewise, the Kongs are in the same boat. And by the way, like Kongs would be a terrible collection to go off of anyway, because we're a smaller collection. There's not as much liquidity there. We don't have the same volume as some of these other collections, which is, I think, what you need. Mm-hmm. So Kongs and punks are immune. There are some other communities out there that we've got ties to, and obviously those are people that are not considered targets right now because we've got close ties to them. But I would say for the most part, 95% of the collections out there are potential targets. But they have to meet certain metrics, I think, in order for us to say okay, this is worthwhile for us to add to the list for people to be able to vote on. And I think what you'll see is if this is successful, then we'll take it multi-chain. I think that's another potential move that you'll see from us. But again, first thing is seeing what happens today. Seeing the reaction to it. And by the way, all of you guys, Proof and Machiavelli, we were chatting yesterday in Captain, we've had numerous spaces together. I appreciate that you guys are able to take a level-headed approach to what this is and that you see this for what it is, which is exactly how we see it. Is there a little bit of an evil arc there? Yeah. But is it experimentation in a space that lacks a ton of it? Absolutely. And in the end, it's just degenerate, man. That's what a lot of this is. Anybody who's in the trenches buying shit coins that get rugged on on an hourly basis, if you've bought shit coins, don't shit talk this one. That's my thoughts on it.
Well said, man. Henry, anything we didn't ask you today that you're hoping to share? Any closing words or final comments?
Man, I think you covered it. I didn't get to listen to your spaces last week, but there was a lot of Kongs who did, and they said just great things about it. Not that you were glazing it, that you were just being really objective about what it is. And I think a lot of people have come around, and maybe some of that is me going out there and being able to talk about it and people realizing oh, this guy, I'm not a dickhead. I'm not a dickhead. This isn't about hating everyone. This is about participating in Web3 in the way that Kongs think we should be participating right now. And that's by experimenting and innovating and twisting and just seeing, letting us all see. Today we get to look in the mirror. genuinely, we all get to look in the mirror and see, what is this? If we tank Moonbird's floor, I think people are going to be like, holy shit, this is a bit scary that everything is, it's built on sand. But if it's not that, but the token's successful, then I think people are going to be like, cool, that was fun. I'm glad I did it. So, no, I think you covered everything pretty damn good, man.
Well, appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate the kind words of the team and the community that tuned in last week. And yeah, I think it was really probably a roller coaster of emotions that you could, if you went back and listened to the first time I mentioned this to where I net out on it today. And I think part of that is a couple of things. My takeaways is I was quickly influenced by the opinion of a few other people that were loud on the timeline. And like, oh yeah, they got a point. And then I started thinking critically about it myself. It's made me think. It's made me think about game theory and mechanics of NFTs. I mean, more so than token works. It's made me actually, like, the whole flywheel, it got me thinking, okay, there's actually something here that's different. But this made me actually think for my own opinions, for my own thoughts around something that was new, it was novel, it's an experiment on chain. And at the end of the day, it is a big part of what made NFTs so fun and exciting. This may be very different from the NFT mania in 2021, but this sort of stuff, it's not just the same thing reskinned or forked, but actually something that's new. And you got to think about game theory. You got to think about how this might play out. It's much more chess than checkers. And I've used the word refreshing a few times. I'm here for it. I'm rooting for you guys. Best of luck with the launch today. And we'll have to run this back. It's been too long. We'll have to run it back at some point after this. You get a few targets acquired and see how this thing's playing out. And I'm very much so looking forward to seeing it play out. So again, thank you very much for the time today. Greatly appreciate it. I know it's a really busy day. Appreciate you joining us impromptu like you did. And yeah, we're rooting for you.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, can I get the softest chill in here real quick?
Go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, if what you hear and if what you've heard from me or from other people in Kongs about what this is, if that resonates with you, if you're like, man, I kind of like this, we've been here March 3rd, it'll be 5 years. There's a community that's been here for almost 5 years doing this kind of shit. We're small. There's 1,000 Genesis Kongs. There's 4,000 babies. We've had a chat going in Wall Street Kongs for that long, where alpha across the entire spectrum, whether it's DeFi, Solana, ETH, ordinals, base, like anything you want to get into, anything you want to learn, anything you want to understand, the Kongs Discord is an amazing place to check that out. All you need for access in there is the Baby Evolution, which is a baby Kong that's been migrated to the new contract, which will be in for the seasonal distribution of Kong, which we'll be announcing here soon when the first one's going to be. But dude, thank you again. I appreciate that. We'll stay tuned for 1 p.m. Eastern today and see what all this does.
Awesome, man. Thank you. And double tap on everything you said there. There's a lot of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe million NFT collections at this point. Millions of tokens getting minted on a daily, weekly basis. Very few can say not only that they've been around since 21 and are getting ready to celebrate a 5-year anniversary, but even less that have done all that, went through a Wells notice and had to deal with an SEC probe, came out of it on the other end, and are continuing to build, continue to do novel things, not just forget just like rage quitting, going home, or throwing in the towel and hitting like on cruise control, like actually still taking shots, still experimenting. I don't care what it is. I just want to see more of that. For the NFT, if you're an NFT team or an NFT founder and you're listening, more experimenting, try new things, do different. It's not all going to work. I don't think anyone here is expecting everything to be a home run or a grand slam. More experimenting, make us think, incorporate some game theory and some decision making into the process. Like the NFTs are great and better than a physical counterpart because you can program against the tech. You can build smart contracts, especially in this age of AI and these agents. I feel like there's so much untapped potential with NFTs. We're never going to get there if the teams don't take shots and attempt to do some things differently. So again, much respect. Appreciate all you're doing. Much respect for the journey you've went through, and appreciate you very much for still being here and taking your time with us today. So best of luck with the launch today. We'll be paying attention for sure. I will be tuning in, and hopefully we get the bottom of that 10% tax. Maybe actually going a little early to catch it before it starts bouncing if we get a ripper. But very much so looking forward to following along day. For anyone who tuned in on the Mega ETH conversation, it is going live there. I'm not sure what time, but we'll be talking about that tomorrow with Outer Lumen, who joins us in the co-host seat, as well as if you're a big Game of Thrones fan and you can't wait to hear about the highest ranked episode ever in the Game of Thrones series or I guess IP. We'll at least hit on that in the cold open tomorrow. But Henry, thanks again for your time today. Best of luck with everything. And as our buddy Steve would say, hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.